call. And I wanted to see if Mr. Don Nicolini is on the call. If he is, can he be unmuted? Because he has a brief presentation.
No one is forced to mute, so he can unmute himself.
Okay, Mr. Nicolini, if you're here.
Got it.
Are you there?
Commissioner, thank you very much for getting us all together.
You're
Yes,
welcome. And if you have, can he share a presentation, Mr. Wood or Mr. Armstrong?
Don Nicoloni?
Yes.
Let's let Austin Tull do that.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my end and then I'll hand it over to you all. And again, this is going to be a joint meeting with Buckner Terrace. I know they have other items to address, so we don't want to take up too much of their time as well, but we definitely want to present it. So I'll mute on my end and we'll go from there.
Austin, you want to take it away?
And the case number is Z201-338.
Austin, I've made you a co-host, so if you'd like to share anything, you're welcome to do that.
Sorry, can you guys hear me now?
I can.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm calling in through my phone and I'm also on my computer, so I usually don't have to do that. So, all right, good. All right, well, I'm gonna just go through a quick presentation here. First, I want to just introduce you to our organization. It is called Responsive Ed. And then I'm gonna go to the next slide here and just kind of introduce some of the team members that are gonna be on the call tonight. It will go, there we go. All right, so on the call, we've got Lynn Tompkins. He's our VP of Construction and Real Estate. We also have Kent Brown, who's the VP of Real Estate. Myself, Austin Tull, I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Construction Services Department for Responsive Ed. We have Lauren Fellers. She's gonna be doing most of the presentations and she has a really good understanding of the model we're gonna be putting in this location. We have our architect, Lance Lilly, who's with Heights Venture Architects, Don Nicolini, who has been talking. He's our development consultant. We also have Gabriel on the line. He is our consultant to do traffic management, in case anybody has any traffic management questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the next slide here. And then Lauren, you can go ahead and take over if you're ready.
Absolutely. Thank you, Austin. Can everyone hear me? Get some head nods. Excellent. Thank you. Perfect. Well, Commissioner Jackson and Neighborhood Association, thank you so much for having us. We wanted to give you a brief picture of what we are proposing for this particular site. Like Austin said, we are a responsive education solution. We are a nonprofit and a charter school network headquartered here in the DFW area. We have a number of different schools, but what we're proposing here is what our original model was. We opened our doors in 1998 to really focus on an area of students that were at great risk and needed some extra support. So we opened 15 dropout recovery and prevention schools called Premier High Schools. We operate now over 35 of these campuses, and this is what we're proposing for this particular site. Over the last 20 years, we've really honed this model. We have developed a very comprehensive set of services for this type of student, for their families, in order to prepare them for post-secondary life, whether that be college, whether that be career. We want them to be prepared in the best way that we possibly can. It is absolutely our mission to focus in on the community, to revitalize the areas that we're in and provide opportunities that might not typically exist for some of these students in a traditional ISD or other K-12 charter schools. So one of the things that we really loved about this particular area is that it's been identified as an opportunity zone. which means that it is in need of economic growth. And so that's why we're looking at this location. So a little bit about ourselves. We do focus on educationally disadvantaged students. And typically we have seen incredibly large gains with these particular students. Our students are more likely than other public or charter students at alternative high schools to help our campuses receive an A. So as maybe most of you know, the state of Texas gives an A through F rating for all campuses, and the majority of ours are rated an A. We also experience a lot of continuation at school, something that is really a struggle for students who are in danger of dropping out or who need to recover credits. It's really difficult to get them to engage and to come to school and to participate. And we have a really phenomenal track record of keeping our kids and really maintaining that engagement with those students. 74% of our students remained at our campuses repeatedly from 18 to 19 and 19 to 20, which was a huge jump from the past. Additionally, we have shown a lot of success in comparison to our immediate peers. So you might have heard Texas Khan Academy or Richard Milburn, which are also focused on dropout recovery, credit recovery, those kinds of things. And we show a significantly higher number of A-rated schools than those peers. We really take pride in making sure that our students are prepared for the next step. And a lot of that means that we have a very specific model, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next couple of slides, but this is something that we're particularly proud of, that our grades are very high for these schools and for these students. What we love about Premier is that it is truly a personalized education. So we are a tuition-free open enrollment charter. Our Premier high schools focus on those students who need to recover credit in order to graduate in a timely fashion. One thing that's unique about our schools is that it's not one size fits all. Students can come and get really what they need. So sometimes that is a student coming back and gaining credits that they lost over time. Sometimes it is students accelerating in their education and graduating early. Our students are not required to be at school for the length of a traditional school day, which allows them to have some flexibility for their families, for their work. We keep our campuses pretty small, between 150 and 250 students, which means that our students are really, really connected to their instructional staff. Additionally, we don't just prepare them for college. We want them to have workforce readiness as much as they have that post-secondary college or military readiness. So that's something that's also really unique to our campus, is focused on that workforce aspect. We are also able to offer self-paced curriculum. So instead of, students having to come and they have to sit in class and they have to be there for all of this amount of time, they're really able to pace themselves. It's mastery-based. They focus on what they are doing at the moment. They can kind of move through their classes as they need. Again, because we have smaller campuses, they don't have quite the same distractions or issues that they might find at a traditional school. We are also able to give them some of those flexible schedule options. They can come in the morning, they can come in the afternoon. There's always potential for evening sessions in order to really support the community as it shows up. We are a state accredited and, like I mentioned, free tuition institution. So again, this is really one of those things where we focused on, we call it CCMR, it's college, career, and military readiness. It is a huge component of our model. We have been awarded a large federal Department of Education grant to really focus on career and technical education, which is something very unique. We have a lot of really amazing industry partners where our students graduate with at least one industry-based certification so that they can immediately impact their community, impact their family by being able to step right into the workforce if that's what they wanted. Here's a list of some of our CTE courses that are offered. We really try to tailor our offerings to the industries and to the workforce around it. Being here in the DFW area, that's obviously healthcare. We have a wonderful partner in Trio Electric and a program where our students are able to walk into an apprenticeship and walk into a career the day they graduate. That is something that we have had just a really phenomenal return on investment there. Our students love that program, and they really like having that opportunity to step into something that they really enjoy. Additionally, our drone program, our UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles, has been quite popular with our students lately and is a huge booming career at the moment. So we've experienced a lot of growth in our campuses just from those programs. Okay, and I will
Okay, I think,
pass it
yeah,
back over.
sorry.
Yes, thank you.
yeah, Kent Brown, our VP of construction, or sorry, our VP of real estate is going to kind of just give you a little bit of an idea of why we are going at 3650 North Buckner, how we came to that site.
Oh, thank you, Austin. So the grant that we were awarded is tied to locating within or close to an opportunity zone within the city of Dallas. So this map that is up here indicates the purple areas are illustrative of designated opportunity zones, and the orange diamond is the location. And we feel that it's a strong location. There's a bus route which is advantageous to us, sits right out in front of the center there. And so that's why we chose this location.
Okay, thanks, Kent. Now we're going to just turn it over to Lance with Heights Venture Architects, just to give just a brief kind of overview of the location itself and just kind of introduce you to the zoning case.
Thanks, Austin. So just to kind of address the site itself. So Responsive Ed is going to be a tenant within this existing facility. And so what that means is most of the change that's going to be occurring at the site will occur inside the space. The outside will largely be maintained and retrofitted on the outside as far as paint, maintenance, those kinds of things to just bring it up to speed to address just lack of just kind of sitting there for a little bit, maintaining the landscaping and those kinds of things. But largely the outside will be just an improvement upon what you see right now. And so, beyond that, we've got obviously some signage that will be on there that will display responsive education in Premier High School. But yeah, it's going to have a great street presence. This plan represents the traffic flow, which Gabriel, who is our traffic consultant, can address if there are any questions specific to that. But just kind of big picture, there is a bus stop right on North Buckner, which we're anticipating the most of the will be used highly for most of the students to be brought to and back and forth from their homes. So that's kind of the big picture there.
Okay, thanks, Lance. So that kind of just introduces you to the intention in our case, and we'll open it up to any questions that anybody has.
Where
Does
will the
anyone have
school
any-
zone?
I'm
Where will
sorry,
the
go
school
ahead.
zone run? Where will the school zones run on the streets? How far down?
Are you actually asking, I guess, for where we would put markings for like speed limit signs and that the actual school zone?
I assume there's going to be one on Buckner, which was probably going to be violated constantly, but
So yeah, so typically in our PHS locations like this, it's not a requirement because of the kind of traffic flow that we get to where we would actually need to have a school zone. But there are some locations where we've had that implemented before. But so it's not a, I guess, a tenant or a condition of what our current development plan is at this time, because we're not anticipating that the traffic flow is going to dictate one.
Dorothy?
Yes, have you seen what the traffic is like at 8 a.m. on Buckner Boulevard right there?
Yeah, I've been out there pretty early in the morning. I think what we're looking at, if you look at the plan here, and then of course, I think I may turn it over to Gabriel here just real quick because he's the engineer who's been working on the traffic management. But we're really heavily anticipating that most of the activity is going to come through that bus stop. And Gabriel, I think you're on the line. If you have any insight into the traffic flow or can kind of give us a little bit of a picture of what our anticipated impact may be as a result of the school.
Hello. Hi, this is Gabriel. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I just as a background about me, just real quick, I worked for 5 years with the City of Dallas Department of Transportation. So I put in school zones for a long time. So what I will say about this is there is not a school zone planned, but I do understand that there's the concern that students would be walking to and from bus stops. It's not in this presentation, but on my report, which may have been circulated, I've mapped where the routes of where students would be walking if they were going on the southbound on Buckner and getting off the bus and crossing. So the good news is that there is a traffic signal for them to cross, but I also understand that like just further up, there's also a school zone too. What I can tell you is that when the school is open, then the principal of Premier High School will need to reach out to the City of Dallas to the transportation to request a school zone. At least that was the procedure that we used just up to a year ago, and they're probably still using that. So if there is deemed a need in the community that a school zone should go there on Buckner, then that is something that will have to be worked out between the community and the City of Dallas.
Gabriel, this is Lynn Tompkins. I'm with the Construction Department of Responsive Ed. One thing I wanted to point out is that a Premier High School offers 3 different shifts, 3 different programs. One is at 8 o'clock, 7:30. The other one starts sometime around lunch, and then the last is an evening. And so, we know that splitting up these sessions into 3 different sessions does help disperse traffic throughout the day. And I think Gabriel's report shows some of that.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't anticipate the amount of vehicles entering and leaving this site to be noticeable, as it's only 10 to 20 extra cars coming in and out of a driveway that already exists. I happen to drive this way to work to drop my wife off on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. So I'm aware of the backup that occurs of that side road trying to get onto North Buckner. It's not pleasant. Otherwise, though, towards the middle of the day, it tends to lighten up. And so from a vehicle traffic perspective, I don't say there'd be a noticeable increase that we would see at possibly other charter schools. I do want to throw in there that there's not going to be a queue line here like we see at other charter schools. We'll see 30, 40 cars lined up blocking a lane of traffic. That's not anticipated here. There shouldn't be a reason for that. And there's also plenty of parking on site. So the self-drive students should be parking legally in a parking spot and not on Buckner, on that side road of Buckner. It's still Buckner, but it's on the side adjacent to the school.
So this area is already going to have a new charter school that's proposed with less than a block away. And that's going to affect traffic significantly twice a day already. How do we add another element like this and think that that's a good addition to this area?
So if I might, the Uplift Charter that has been proposed in your area, and I do think is moving forward, is a fantastic institution. However, it is K-12 and a little more traditional as it relates to the instructional model. The Premier model, as it stands right now, is really focused on this specialized education. So it is going to offer a different opportunity for students that are probably not going to be the same students going to Uplift. I know from the community standpoint, it's 2 schools, and so it's kind of a 6 of 1 type of mentality. So I do appreciate that part. I will say though that it's definitely a different style of school and definitely a different style of student who typically attends our campus as opposed to the campus that will be down the way.
Like it wasn't about your curriculum or your model. It's more
Okay.
about the traffic.
Oh, I
And
see.
the
Okay.
traffic is going to be significantly higher if that uplift campus goes in effect twice a day in the morning, which is in the morning of your session, and then the afternoon at 3 o'clock, it's going to be high again. So it's going to already be high on those 2 times. So I'm trying to understand how, if a traffic plan has been done to alleviate that burden on the communities that surround this location.
Yeah, this is Austin with RES. I guess I may deflect this back over to Gabriel, but I think that Gabriel's point is his analysis shows that the way that the traffic flows and the staggered drop off and pickup is really not going to, for this particular location, even though it is a school. And to Lauren's point as well, it's not a traditional sort of 8 to 3 o'clock sort of charter school model. So it would be basically the traffic pattern could be, and Gabriel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it would be similar to whether or not it was a school or just the space was functioning as a tenant space that was a popular retail destination. So our school, even though it is a school, will not have any additional impact on the community, anything different than what a normal retail establishment would at the same location.
But in all honesty, we haven't had any retail there in several years. It was a nightclub that was an evening adventure, and an uplift school with proposed 1,000 kids is going to add traffic significant to that already significant traffic street. So with all due respect, it is going to have an impact on the community 3 times a day.
This is Gabriel, and I understand your sentiment, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's not going to add traffic to the area. It obviously will. The charter schools that are going to have 1,000 students, I mean, I mean, that's going to make a difference, of course. But I would just again state that this campus traffic management, the amount of vehicles coming in and out of here is going to be, I mean, if you're comparing apples to oranges, 1,000 students to 100, and those 100 in this case in our school is broken up throughout the day. It's a drop in a big bucket, but it's not, from a traffic perspective, I don't feel that it's going to have an additional impact that's significant to what that uplift is doing.
I'm guessing that you don't live in the area and you won't be dealing with the traffic that's already heavy on this intersection. But 200 up to 250 students, that is significant extra traffic if they're coming there 5 days a week. So we have some other questions too. So Brittany.
Yeah, I will say that I am concerned with the student population and having a negative impact on neighboring Skyline High School that offers very similar courses and has been for, decades. So that is a major concern for me.
I'm sorry to interject you all, but we have to keep our questions to the land use. That's typically what we try to do as it relates to the zoning cases, because that's all we as a zoning commission can actually speak to. And I do apologize for that inconvenience.
Let me have the floor since I actually live in the neighborhood. When it comes to the uplift school, they are coming off of 30 making a right turn into their facility. If you move forward to the Buckner, it's also a right turn to turn into the facility. I actually look at this as being a plus for that strip mall where there hasn't been businesses in for years. And to be able to actually have an anchor on that front when that property is well kept with plenty of parking in the back with only 2 businesses. One business is basically dealing with adult daycare. On the back end, you have a church. And then you also have a facility there dealing with workmen. Right there on that particular corner, I think would actually invite some decent retail in that particular strip mall. Also, I think it would actually be an anchor based upon what they have just said with beautification and greenery as an introductory to there. And that would help out the owner of that particular property who haven't had no decent businesses in there at all. So with that being considered, Uplift is being blocks away, you're making a right turn. Anyone that's driving in there off of 30 would actually get a Buckner and make a right turn. They will make a right turn into the facility for parking. Anyone else would actually have to take a bus or either walk across the street. But with the amount of students and the sporadicness that they actually bringing into that facility, I just don't see the problem of them being there or the students that's actually arriving there. We have a couple of individuals that they could get their GED around in our particular area. When it comes to education, especially what they're offering, where you can sit back and be able to get a trade with a small group that's actually coming in, I can only see it adding an element of benefit into our community, more or less than taking it away. So with that said, you're helping out a property owner who actually needs the business. Hopefully it's a draw for other legitimate businesses in that area. You have a traffic flow plan, and because I live in the area and I drive through there, that I just don't see the effect or see it affecting anything as far as traffic is concerned. So with that in mind, and plus we got our planning commission, I'm representing the Truett Area Crime Watch, the White Rock East Area Plan. And I'm actually throwing my hat in for approval. And I will put that in writing also sometime after the meeting between the day and tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
I don't see anything that's negative this, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Tanner. And for anyone who would like to send any letters of support or any letters of non-support, Mr. Wood, if you could, I can put my email address in the comments and you can definitely disperse it to the community, to the neighborhood association. Again, we just want to stick to more so on the land use as it relates to any case, and I appreciate you all for that. But for those who want to write down my email address now, it's D as in Delta, the number 7, so D7 plan, just like it sounds, plan, PLAN, Papa Lima Alpha November @gmail.com. That's D7 plan @gmail.com. And this is in reference to case number Z201-338. Again, that's Z201-338. And Mr. Wood, if you could send an email for me with the information, I can give you a template to disperse as well. Did anyone else have any questions for the applicant in regards to land use before we hand it back over to Buckner Terrace?
Looks like we have one question, Mr. John.
Sure.
Yes, I have a question. So I know we're rezoning this for school use. So my question is, will this affect what businesses can and can't go in the future in the shopping center or whatever you want to refer to it as?
So
Hey,
no,
Tim.
yes.
Sorry, no, I was just going to get your confirmation that we're doing a special use permit. So we're actually not technically changing, I guess, the zoning. We're just asking for a special use within the zoning. So if our SUP were to change or expire in the future, then the zoning of that particular location would not actually change.
Okay, but as far as the school actually being there, will it affect what businesses can and can't go in while the school is there?
I think he means like distance requirements for various businesses, I guess.
Are you asking in the rest of the facility or just that?
Yeah, and the
impact?
rest, yes, and the rest
Oh,
of the
yeah.
facility.
No, it doesn't impact the rest of the facility.
Okay, and then my other my other concern is similar to Daniel. I see that the strip feeds out into the North Buckner, I guess the North Buckner access road. It doesn't actually feed into the actual Buckner Road. So that would go into Chenault, which Chenault is going to be, I believe, an entrance into the new charter school. So what will be done to alleviate the traffic between that area when both schools are in session, or you know, when they're both either going into session at the same time, plus, you know, the already existing traffic that goes in there.
This is Gabriel. So I have not seen the traffic impact analysis or the traffic management plan for the charter school. I mean, that charter school, but I will iterate that the vehicular traffic going into this Premier High School is going to be no different than if they were going to the kidney treatment plant just down, I mean, or the dialysis center behind it. They're going to pull in and go and park. So there's not going to be queuing. There's not going to be any reason for vehicles to be on that access road. And so,
yes, I understand that, but the kidney place also doesn't have 20, 30 vehicles at one time trying to go into it.
right, but as you can see by this thing that's on there, there's only 10 students driving 10 vehicles. And I haven't seen the traffic management plan for how they're going to, I mean, according to the rules of the city of Dallas, all their queuing, all their pickup and drop off for that charter school is supposed to be on their private property and not in the city right of way. And so if there's issues that arise from that, that's going to be the issue of that school and that traffic management plan that is also approved by the city. So, you know, this one that we have here has been reviewed by the traffic engineering people in the city of Dallas, and they, for all intents and purposes, do not have an issue with what we've proposed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess my concern is that the traffic would be off of the North Buckner, the North Buckner like access road that's right there. It's not the actual Buckner road.
Right.
So
right.
that feeds into Chenault, which is which is already a small road.
Right.
And so you have traffic coming in and out of the new school that's going to be there. Plus, you're going to have the new traffic from responsive ed. So, right. I mean, plus you have any other traffic that's coming in. So, I mean, do y'all have anything planned to alleviate that or to avoid any issues with that?
May I just make a comment on that Chenault Street? Since I was involved with the uplift zoning, and that is that street will be closed. It will not be used to access.
That's not true. That's not true. That Chenault will be used.
Chenault's going to be used by the school, is it not?
Yes.
By the new charter school coming in.
Yes. Yes, it's the main entrance for the charter school. So we have one last question, Mr. Atkins.
Question I have is regard to the SUP. This SUP will require renewal every 2 to 5 years. Do we have an answer to that? Since you're using the SUP, how often would your permit have to be renewed? And I think as the community is saying, the second part of that question is the community has to consider all the traffic plans together. And it would be a nightmare once if both gets approved, then all people have to do is point the finger to the other. It's not my problem, it's the charter school. It's not its premier. And so I think for the community, they have to kind of combine all of these traffic plans because they don't have to want to live with it on a day-to-day basis.
The request is for every 5 years.
Thank you. I do agree with that, that it is the community that's going to have to live with it. And for the opportunity to try to add more retail into that shopping center, the reason that it's probably not a viable shopping center for everyday things is because of the traffic is already difficult at that intersection. So I don't think that this is going to be a savior for bringing in more traffic to that shopping center. But if anybody else has any other questions, they can direct them to Commissioner Jackson. His information is in the chat. And if you have any other questions, you can email us at Buckner Terrace and we can pass that along to Mr. Jackson as well. Is there any other questions before we move on? Mr. Jackson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wood. I appreciate you for allowing us to come to this meeting. And we typically have our meetings the Tuesday prior to CPC. We wanted to have this meeting a lot sooner in case there were any strong objections to the land use. But feel free to reach out to me. I placed my telephone number as well as my email address there. As you all know, CPC is a voluntary position. So if I don't get back to you immediately, I will get back to you soon. I'm typically good at responding within 24 hours. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your questions. I appreciate the applicants for attending, and I will exit now. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you, everybody.
Commissioner, I appreciate you getting this all together.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We're going to now start the other business for the Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association. We welcome any of our friends and neighbors to stay with us, but we understand if you have other things to do. I'm going to start with sharing. Hold on 1 second. I would actually like to acknowledge, we have Councilman Basil Dua is with us. So he's hearing your comments if you have any for him. Not necessarily that he did not have anything that he wanted to specifically talk to us about this evening, but definitely know that he is here hearing the community. We also have a special guest, Commissioner Teresa Daniel.
Hey, y'all.
With us. Oh, there's Councilman Basil Dua.
And just saying hey.
All right. Hey, thank you for being here.
Hi.
And Commissioner Daniel is here. Would you like to say a word, Commissioner Daniel?
I would love to say a word. I just want to say, hey to everybody. There's a lot going on in our worlds, a lot that is going on in Buckner Terrace. Particularly excited about the ribbon cutting that happened most recently on the Loop, which is the trail going from the Arboretum down to the all the way down to the Trinity River bottom. What that means to us in especially your part of town is the possibilities for expanding the trails into Southeast Dallas County. So I'm excited. Just wanted to say hello. Glad you guys are there. Glad you're meeting, and that good things are coming. And it's all partially, people working together. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Commissioner Daniel. We know that you were a big part of why that trail is coming this way. And the next phase of the trail is actually already being planned. And the trail right now is getting to right about Samuel and I don't know what the railroad track right before Tennyson Golf Course. But right there, it's basically behind the Uplift school, the White Rock Hills Elementary Uplift School. So it's getting real close to the neighborhood. The next phase takes it under 30 and down to Longview Station. So then we'll have literally a direct access on bike or foot to White Rock, to downtown. It's amazing what the network is actually is out there. So thank you for being a big supporter of that in our community, and we appreciate you. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, excellent. I'm going to share. The first thing that we need to do is we need to
Minutes.
Yep, we're gonna approve the minutes from the last meeting. Can you see them? Anybody see them? Hold on. All right. All right, so the minutes for the last meeting are on the screen. And we would entertain a motion for approval of those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Approved and seconded. Any discussion?
Was that
All-
Adam who's second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, the second is to approve the minute or the treasurer's report that was submitted last time. Basically, the ending balance was $2,020.45. If we can get a motion to approve the treasurer's report from September 2021.
So moved.
Manuel.
Thank you, Manuel Valadez. And seconded. Everybody's muted. Was that
I
Jen
second.
Late? Thanks, Jesse. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. The next thing we'll discuss the agenda here real quick, but the new treasurer's report presented by Tom White, our treasurer, gives us an ending balance of $2,281.47 as of September 30th, 2021. And we'll approve those minutes on those treasurer's report on the next minutes. So, all right, so we've already done our greeting. Commissioner Jackson, we've approved the minutes. Crime stats, we have Officer Joseph. Are you still with us? There he is. Officer Joseph, welcome to the neighborhood.
How you guys doing today? I'm sorry, I'm gonna be real short. I see y'all got a lot going on. Yeah, Miss Hernandez is out. She's dealing with babies and all of that stuff, so she'll be out for a while. Within the past month, there's been an uptick, but there was a total of 6 UUMVs in the neighborhood. So make sure you guys lock up, hide stuff in your neighborhood. You don't want stuff, in your cars. You don't want stuff to be seen because people are taking cars this time of year. You get a lot of people start their cars up early to warm it up. Don't do that. If you're gonna warm your car up, sit in the car and warm up with it, okay? Again, the crime stats are pretty much the same all over the city. We're still down 15% in Southeast Dallas. And the whole city is down 2%. So that's just a quick synopsis of what's going on in the area. We will be in your neighborhood, I guess, Friday and Saturday for the trick or treat. So be glad to see you guys this weekend. Any questions for me? Anything I need to know about I can pass along?
Okay, that's a good segue to the trick or treat. I'm sharing the screen for the trick or treat. Yeah, the trick-or-treaters are going to be at Edna Rowe Elementary. If you haven't already signed up to decorate your car, come out, hand out candy to the kids. You know what? I don't even care if you decorate the car, just bring your candy and hand it out to the kids. We have a lot of people already coming. We did one at Guzik Elementary last Friday, and it was absolutely fantastic. We probably had 1,000 kids out there collecting candy, and they probably had 10 totes of candy. So they had a lot. So that was a real blessing for that. Thank you, Officer Joseph. We appreciate you being here with us. The other event that we have coming up, we may as well do it while we're here sharing, is they do a motor parade. I don't know if anybody saw that last year. I was actually out of town, but they did a motor parade. They dressed up on their Halloween costumes and they rode their motorcycles on this route. This is the route that they're going to do this year. They're going to start at Everglade Park at 9 a.m. on Saturday, October 30th. So if you are so inclined and you have a motorcycle or something that you can keep up with that's not a normal car, come out and join that. If you live on the route, come outside and cheer them on and get some candy, because I know they'll be throwing out some candy as well. If you have any questions about that, our good neighbor Thor is taking care of this. And if he has any questions, you can reach out to me and I can connect you with him, or he's got a post on Nextdoor to share that information. So with that being said, let me stop sharing that. Yes.
Yeah, Lieutenant Hoyer, I forgot that you were calling for Officer Joseph. I was busy on talking to something else. It's a busy night, but I'm representing Southeast Command Staff on behalf of Major Rivas and Chief Ishmael.
Excellent. Thank you. And we appreciate you are always here and only a phone call away. So we appreciate that. So Officer Joseph does take care of us pretty good. So, but we hope to see some of you guys out here on Friday night, or Friday at 4:30 at Edna Row with the candy. So with that being said, we've done that crime stats, we've done the current events. We do need to do nominations for the next year's board members for Buckner Terrace. I have had a conversation and I would nominate Corey to be the co-chair again on the next meeting. And otherwise, that's one nomination that I've put out there. If anybody else has any other nominations, we'd like to bring those forward now. Can I nominate Mr. White as well? So Tom White for treasurer. I'll nominate Jesse as our secretary. Any other nominations that anybody wants to make? Anybody? Everybody's so quiet tonight. We're not used to that, y'all.
But it's because everyone's muted too.
Well, everybody has the opportunity to unmute, but so far the slated candidates would be VP Corey Mack, Jesse Armstrong as secretary, Tom as treasurer. If you'd like me to remain as the chair, I'm open to doing that as well, but we would need a nomination.
Oh, I'll nominate Daniel for chair.
Thank you. All right, so as it stands, we have a slate with myself, Corey, Tom, and Jesse to remain the same officers as this year. Maybe can we get a motion to approve that slate of candidates?
I make a motion. So move.
Thanks, Jean Larson. And the second was who? Stephanie White. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of this slate of candidates? We'll vote on the actual candidates on the next meeting, but we just are voting on that will be our ballot. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And we'll revisit that next month with our next meeting. Some of the items in the neighborhood that people have been noticing, if you haven't noticed, Buckner retirement, that groundwork is pretty much complete. The streets are in, they're doing just a little bit left, and then the houses will start to be built. If you ever look at any realtor sites, they're starting to promote that site for new construction homes. The price point has not been identified completely yet, but we have been told that they will be close to in the range of 450 starting is what we've been told so far. So that is going to definitely be a boost for the neighborhood. And the location next to it in the former Timberlawn site, that is still in the zoning process. And we are working out the final details on that. Councilman Basil Dew has been working hard to ensure that we are getting a park in the front of that, which will enable us to save all of the trees on the front half of that property. So it's about 3.72 acres on the front of that property. I know we shared that plan previously at another meeting, so we'll bring that back as soon as it passes through council and we know that it's a final done deal, but it's very, very close. So we thank Councilman Basil Dua for making that commitment to the community. There were, is there any other questions? I think those are the only
There's
projects.
a question in the chat
Oh, okay.
from Jay Bonner.
Can someone tell me what is up with the survey marking that is going on Sidewalk Street in our neighborhood, especially on Honeycutt Road? Is it closer to the apartments? Is it closer to where the
No, it's all up and down Honeycutt. It's mostly on my end toward 20.
Okay. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing. I know they are upgrading the neighborhood with fiber. So that may be it.
I saw several markings that specifically said that they were about fiber this morning, but I don't know if it's the same ones you saw.
Okay.
Right. So I do know that they're working on that in the community. So I don't know if that's what that is there now, but that is what
they are doing. Fiber line, and they're trying to get any overhead utility lines buried that is possible, and that of course varies location to location. I'm not sure if it is specifically at that intersection, but that's the work that's being done.
Do you have any other updates for us, Councilman Basil Dua, while you're here?
Well, I have one update. District 7's Park Board representative, Daniel Wood, was nominated and approved as Vice President of the Park Board for the next 2 years. So that's a very exciting thing. I want to give a big congratulations to Daniel and a big thank you to all of the work that you put in. Absolutely. I would like to also say there's an ordinance that's coming up in November in the Quality of Life Committee and then on to council after that to adjust the hours of operation for sexually oriented businesses. And this came as a proposal from myself, specifically after we've had a couple of homicides since I've been in office at the Tiger Cabaret specifically. There's also been other criminal activity that has taken place at the same type of venue in other parts of the city that is open after 2 a.m. This is something that I'm looking to have close at 2 a.m. With all of the bars so that we can eliminate some of the criminal and nefarious activities that are going on at such businesses, and one of them specifically being right outside of or in the middle of a couple of residential neighborhoods in District 7. So that is a big piece of policy that we're working on. And then I will also announce in the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be people on this call that will want to weigh in, but we will have a special called meeting for the Quality of Life Committee to address short-term rentals, new proposed regulations that are going to come with that. And then there of course is going to be, I'm going to have the committee level meeting set up with opportunity for public comment. So please keep your eyes and ears out for that opportunity to let your voice be heard through this process. So those are some of the big things going on now. You've already touched on Timberlawn, which is a big one. Daniel has a lot of exciting things that are going on in our parks. And then directly across Ferguson, it's technically in District 9, but we have the ribbon cutting and the opening on November 6th of the White Rock Hills and
Creekside
Park, and that is right there at Highland and Ferguson on the District 9 side of Highland. So please come and enjoy the festivities. And I'm sure Daniel will have that sent out to the members as well. But those are some of the exciting things going on.
It's actually
and be safe with trick or treating and have fun. Happy Halloween.
The grand opening for the Creekside White Rock Hills Park is on Saturday, November 6th at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Some of the festivities, African dancers and drummers, art activities, bulb planting, vaccine clinic, the police and fire department will be there. There's going to be some games, fun, a juggler, stilt walker, a magician, and a mariachi band. It's just some of the festivities that are going to be. So they like to do it big on the north side of 30. So we're excited to go join them. But I did in our parks this week, one thing that I did do, Everglade Park has been waiting on a piece of art for about 4 years. And we finalized the location of that at the alley of the Symphony and Everglade area on that corner. And we're going to put it in the middle of another butterfly garden. If you guys remember, anybody that remembers the sculpture, it's actually a couple yellow butterflies dancing in the wind kind of sculpture. So it's pretty cool, and we should hopefully see that in the next few months be installed in the park. And then we'll get that entrance from that corner added. But there is a couple other things. You're going to start to see some construction at Everglade Park. So this will definitely affect the neighborhood. They've got to upgrade the pump station at the water utility, and that's going to affect our park. They need to use about 1/3 of the park for staging for the construction, and that will basically eliminate the space where we just put our exercise equipment. So we're going to relocate the exercise equipment. We're going to add a trail through the middle of the park to kind of reduce and reroute the walking trail, but it'll add a new element of the walking trail on there. But we're in the process of negotiating with them to enhance after they're done with the construction, that they're going to hopefully add a walking trail around the entire water facility. So that'll actually double the length of our walking trail and a safe place for folks to walk. So that's some of the exciting things, but yet it'll be a little frustrating at first, but we definitely will see some changes at Everglade coming up. But if you haven't seen them, the Japanese maples are starting to turn red for the fall. So go out and get a picture by the Japanese maples. I think they're kind of cool. And all of the trees, some of them are still blooming. So the park is really transformed. So we're excited that staff is really taking good care of our park. So
is that upgrade why they're funneling the traffic on Jim Miller down to 1 lane?
They're doing some kind of construction, something somewhere. I don't know. I saw that just today or yesterday as well. So
it doesn't seem like they've done anything, but it's been like that for days now.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got that. We are working, and I know Councilman Basil Dew is actually working on finding funding for upgrading the traffic light at Forney Road and Jim Miller. Because anybody gets stuck in that intersection during the high school let out is definitely not enjoying that time. So they're working on upgrading, because that's from our archaic traffic signal school. So we're working on upgrading that traffic light so that we can get some protected lanes leaving Skyline High School. Were there any other questions or any other concerns that people had? Other items?
Yes, I got one. This is Johnny Bond.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been hearing rumors that DART is extending their bus route on down Honeycutt to Longview. Is there any truth to that matter?
I have heard that, and there's actually a website that the DART is reorganizing their bus routes, and they are there's a new route published on the their website. I'll try to find that website and share it with everybody. But yes, I do believe that the 111 is going to go to down Honeycutt towards Longview, and then down to the DART station, I believe. So that's a change in the route. It's supposed to give people a closer, less of a commute or walk to the bus stops. And it's supposed to streamline and make them much more efficient. So I know that there's still discussion on that. So if you have any questions or concerns, definitely weigh in. They have some opportunities to weigh in on that. So we could actually, if you have concerns, we could actually get somebody from DART to speak at an upcoming meeting. Maybe next month we could have somebody from them if you have questions, and we could invite them. If that's
Sounds
something
good.
that you're okay. I mean, I'll work on that.
All right.
Any other questions? Anybody? Nobody? Well, if we have nothing else, thank you. If you have anything, please join us if you can to come to Edna Rowe. I do know he's not with us this evening, but our principal, Joseph, has been very instrumental in doing a lot of upgrades at Edna Rowe. I don't know if anybody, some of us have had the conversation, but some of the things that we're working on at Edna Rowe is we're working to try to transform Edna Rowe into a Montessori school starting next year. We're going to phase in Montessori and actually add middle school as well. So it'll be a pre-K 4 through 8 dual language Montessori when it's all said and done. That'll be a several year process to phase in the Montessori, and the gen ed would be phased out at that point. But anybody that is in the attendance boundaries is automatic admission. So it's not restricting people from getting into their neighborhood school. It's still going to be considered a neighborhood school. But if you have questions, concerns, or ideas or thoughts, if you'd like to be part of that transformation, we do have SBDM meetings scheduled for Edna Rowe. And our first one is actually on Thursday. So if anybody's interested in joining that and wants to be part of that conversation, I implore you to join us. We definitely can use all the help we can get. Any other questions? Any other concerns, questions?
Oh, I just wanted to say I use the they finally opened up those 2 little dog parks over there by Edna Rowe, and they're fantastic.
So
my dog was loving having the extra running room.
So yeah, so yes, thank you. So the idea that the dog parks at the school, at first that was wasted space, and we asked, or some neighbors were just using the space unofficially, and then they closed the gates, and I said, hey, can you put the gates back? You know, we were unofficially using that as a dog park, and they said, well, why don't we just make it official? So they came in and they made it official. They gave us some benches, they gave us some trash cans. They still need the bins in them, but they've made some pretty cool things, and we're going to work on some signage and dress it up a little bit more. But definitely thanks for that reminder. That was one thing that I forgot about. But there's a small dog area and a larger dog area. And the idea behind it is if some of these folks are letting their dogs run on the playground and they're not cleaning up after them, we're hoping that people will use the dog area and not use the main playground area. So that was our hope for that. And if hopefully we have the cleanup stations that are something that the Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association has, you know, contributed to the school for several years. And thanks to Stephanie White for stocking those stations on a regular basis. We always have bags for our neighbors walking their dogs. She also does it at Everglade Park. So we're one of the few parks that consistently has bags. So we appreciate that. And thank you, neighbors, for everybody that has paid their dues. That is one of the things that our dues go to. And even if you're not a dog lover, if you walk the neighborhood, it's definitely a nice thing to have somebody have that bag to be able to clean up after their pets. And it has drastically reduce the waste that is around the school. So we appreciate that. With that being said, any other questions, any other comments? Anybody else have anything to add? Ms. Walker, anything tonight?
No, thanks, Daniel, for all that you do. I can see your handiwork all over the neighborhood. You and anyone else.
I might be a ringleader, but there's a lot of people that make things happen. I'm just thankful that our neighborhood is actually getting, some major attention, that it's always needed, it's deserved. There's a lot of good people doing a lot of great things. I just, have a big mouth and I get out there in the front of everybody and ask for this and ask for that. But one thing that I did confirm today is I reached out to our friends at Resource One, and they're going to help us with our website, because that's a big expense. So they're going to help us with our website, and actually they're going to cover our Zoom costs so that we can keep our virtual meetings even after we go back in person. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm dying to get back into person meetings. I miss seeing people in person. So we should hopefully start those. I don't know when we can say it, but let's say the beginning of the year we can get back in person. But we plan to have the virtual option so that people from the community that can't get in to the school will be able to join us as well. So we thank Resource One. So if you start seeing Resource One on the website and on our emails, that's why, is because they've been very generous to sponsor both of those things for us to help our neighborhood extend that platform. All right.
Daniel, are there plans for getting the Skyline Branch Library renovated? Or
you know what, I have
phone number.
I can't reveal all of my plans yet, but because I haven't got them approved by the library people yet. But one of the things that we're working on, and I've alluded to this before, that we're working on buying some land over by Skyline to build a recreation center. And one of the things that we would like to do there, my vision that I have for that, is I'd love to add a new library in that center. And then that would leave the old library for something else. And we're thinking maybe like an art center for this, like in the east side arts, because we have a lot of arts folks and lovers on the southeast side of the neighborhood or the city, and we don't really have a place over here. So that's one of the ideas that somebody has thrown out there. So that's just a couple ideas. Nothing is set in stone, but it's something that we're trying to work through. Any other questions? Anybody? Mr. White, do you have anything for us this evening?
I have absolutely nothing.
If nobody knows, Mr. White is a dedicated volunteer for Oakland Cemetery. And the connection for Buckner Terrace to Oakland Cemetery, Miss Edna Rowe is buried at Oakland Cemetery. So there's a connection if you didn't have any other one. But many of the city's founders are buried at Oakland, and Tom, with a small group of volunteers, has really transformed the cemetery into back, they've really worked hard at it. There's been a lot of work over the years, but it's pretty much a volunteer effort at this point. So if you're ever interested in volunteering or know anybody that wants to volunteer, connect them with Mr. White. I think he probably has some opportunities for you.
Tom, I'll see you Saturday. I'm going to be out at Oakland Saturday.
There you go, Miss Larson.
Yeah, I'll be out there. There's going to be Preservation Dallas is doing tours of cemeteries this year as a fundraiser, and Oakland is one of the cemeteries that they're going to be touring.
Excellent. So I don't know if anybody's followed it real quick, because I know we got to go 3 more minutes at most. We've had some really cool meetings at Fair Park, and one of the things that happened at Fair Park is they designated it a cultural arts district, I believe. I don't know the exact words or the the name of it, but it's now a cultural arts district, and it opens up a lot of opportunity for funding. And that also extends to Oakland Cemetery. So that might be able to help that cemetery as well. There's a lot of exciting, they're in the planning phases to roll out. They're going to start building the parking garage that will lead to a community park. I was on a meeting today that they're working on the trail that's going to be at the park that will connect our neighborhood eventually to downtown. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but if you haven't been out on the trail networks, it is amazing. I actually went on a route the other day. It ended up being like 22.5 miles, but it was like you only crossed 2 roads the entire time. So it was really a cool adventure, and it was kind of an escape from the city. So it was kind of a fun thing. So, all right. Any other questions? Any other comments? If not, we can adjourn at 8:14 p.m. All in favor?
You put a motion up.
A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Mr. White, thank you. All right, all in favor? Aye. Thank you all very much. And let us know what you need, and we're here to help, okay? Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hand me my phone.